Everyone, it's Docfire. Welcome to Docfire's Down and Dirty Reviews. If you're looking for unbiased reviews on autococker parts and markers, well, you've come to the right place. Because I have to buy this stuff out of my own pocket. Anyway, enjoy the show, and you have a good time here? Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Have a good one. Hey everyone, it's Docfire, and it's time for another Docfire Down and Dirty Review. Today's review is going to be on the ProToyz Speedster. This is a new loader that is come out in the market, and I think kind of fits the mech world. So let's start kind of digging into it a little bit. The ProToyz is a German company, from my understanding, that is being distributed in the U.S. by Planet Eclipse, and you can get it at your local vendors out there. And here's some information on the back of the box. But with that, let's kind of go through what comes in the box. You have a 50 caliber adapter for it, and then they have this power button that's a replacement power button that you have to use a tool to go in that power button to turn it on. So it's really good for fields. Obviously it has a manual here, so you can look at that. But I think this thing is really kind of built for durability for field users, for rental loaders, for like their E-Max and stuff like that. It kind of really makes sense. But general construction, I would equate the plastic to be that hard, but that soft, like Revy plastic, maybe a little bit harder, but not that plastic that's going to shatter. More like maybe the plastic that's on an E-Mac. The lid has a nice stout, thick spring, and it flexes and comes open fine. The tabs are a bit stiff in the sense that when you lock it down there, it's kind of hard to open it, but that makes sense for a rental. And let's take a look around it. Pretty simple. Looks a lot to me like a the Virtue Spire in a lot of things. On-off button. Pretty simple, on and off. Like I said, oh yeah, there's the paddles on the inside. It's kind of interesting. So when you turn it on, it spins for a while like that. And then it goes to this every few seconds rotating, which just like it agitates if it's feeding balls, stuff like that. It does have a optical thing. To take the lid off, I'm having a little difficulty here. I'm going to pause the video and come back. You depress that little thing down, and then you push forward on that, and the lid will pop right off. Very easy to come off for easy cleaning. It's the lid screwed on with some screws there. Kind of see the plastic, and plus it's got this nice locking rim around the edge. If you can see that there, there's the screws, but really hard plastic. Then the inner piece, all you do is you pull back on that tab there. You can see that snaps back in, just pull back, and then it comes right out. Do it a couple times to show you. Very easy. That comes out, and then the bottom shell is pretty simple. It has the power button in it, no wires or anything like that. Some screws to take that mechanism apart to easily remove it for repair. And then it's a nice hard plastic. It's pretty stiff. And here's the drive mechanism on it. You can see it's got the little swoop feed port, and then the paddles are very reminiscent of the old Revy paddles, but much stiffer. And then it's got these two little dots. I think it's kind of to break up the paintballs. It takes 4 AA batteries there. And then that's the light tube, or has the emitter in there that allows you to do that. And that's where you put your 50 caliber adapter would go in there. Servo motor, similar to a Revy. You have the power cord. See, it runs right along here. And I'm curious to see if it will take that... Virtue has a little power box that's a rechargeable one. I think it may. I'm going to have to check that out. But you can go and unplug that. Here's what the plug looks like, so if someone wants to look into that. Well, almost like a little JST plug. So whatever 4 AA's are, I'm sure it's like 4 point something. Or those 1.5 volts each. So 4, 5, 6, probably about 8 volts, 6 or 7 volts, right around there. It has the next wire is the servo, and then the last wire over that 3-pin is for the sensor lights. Here's a close-up of the board. The button's a nice tactical feel, on off. Here, I'm going to turn it on. It runs for this amount of time, then it turns off. Then it goes into a momentary. So it's actually a pretty cool design on a lot of things. And for a guy that likes shooting autocockers, I use a Spire. I have a couple force feed loaders. Some people have issues with balls pushing past wire detents, and they have to adjust the force, like on a die rotor. All great loaders, but I think this loader's like, I don't know, $60 or something like that. So it's definitely in that market that it's going to replace my Revy out there. And what I really like about it is that it's completely disassemblable. You can disassemble the whole thing, wash it without getting electronics wet, like if you chop a ball or something like that, or explode a ball up into it. You can clean it out fairly easy, and you're good to go. But let's look at some weights on it. So I weighed the common. Here's a little older Spire, but it's a 1 pound, 1.4 ounces. Here's the trusty Revy. This is the lightest of the bunch. These all have batteries in them, so that's 13 ounces. Then we're going to go with the die rotor, and it is 1 pound, 3.4 ounces. And then this is the heavy one of the bunch. I'm not going to lie. It is a little heavier, so it's 1 pound, 6.8 ounces with batteries in it. It's not loaded with paintballs. So anyway, the feed neck. I always kind of have an issue with certain feed necks don't fit certain markers. So here you can kind of figure things out. I'm going to measure kind of both sides, and then the thickness of the material. So how durable was where it's not going to just snap off or something like that. So I'll have to kind of go through this. As I'm going through this, it's one of the things I really like about it is how the two shells come together, and they have an interlocking groove that if you were to get shot in that seam, it's not going to allow paint to go inside, which I think is kind of cool. And if you do get paint in there, or if you're a field owner and you have these things, what a nice thing to be able to take these all apart and then throw each shell half in a bucket of water to clean it out, and you're able to service the batteries while it's out, and you can wipe anything in the electronics section, but you can dunk everything underneath water, everything else underneath water, or outside of the electronics, which is kind of cool. So I think it has a lot of benefits. This is the loader I use the most is my Spire. It's low profile enough for me, and it works fine. I can kind of equate the plastic for the new Speedster as a little softer than the Spire plastic. That makes sense. All right, with this is the balance test, and see if it balances on its own feed neck. And obviously the die doesn't. It's tail heavy. These will basically pretty much all be tail heavy because that's just how they're set up. So and obviously the Revy is going to be tail heavy. But one of the things they speak about this thing is how balanced it is on front to back balance. And you'll see here, I was pretty amazed with it. It's actually very balanced. Watch this. There we go. Although it's heavy, it's very balanced on the center point. All right, so this test, I'm going to do a drop test, and there's approximately 100 balls in here. And I'm going to do the drop test with each one of them. And there'll be a little indicator here in a second, so approximately how many seconds it is. Now, keep in mind with these drop tests, okay, there's no ball stack. Normally there's a ball stack there that's stopped when you're not firing, and then you fire, and it's got to have the force feed loaders are going to have a little bit of ball stack pressure. And with some markers, like some autocockers with wire detents, they don't really like that. You can push your ball past that. You see it's about 5.4 seconds for that die, but you expected that for the die. Anyway, the Revy is more of a gravity feed loader with an agitator. And that's what I would probably equate the Speedster to, as a gravity fed agitator. It's more set up for that, not necessarily a pressured ball stack like the die or the Virtue loaders, which are kind of in their league of their own for that. So take this test for what it is. It's not really totally valid, but it is fairly valid. Just, to kind of show you the differences are. And the interesting thing, the Spire was the worst one out of it for just this test. And on a Spire, you got to remember it's a sound activated, so I have to tap on it like I'm shooting the marker. And the Spire ended up getting like a couple balls, like the last couple balls didn't want to get into the turning wheel, and they just got kind of stuck off to the side. It's unrealistic too, because when you're playing, you're kind of moving around, and you're not going to be so, stagnant, I guess. There you saw that last ball drop out. The Spire's always done me really well. And the last one here, everything's good. The lid that snaps on there it really is a hard snap. There shows you the light on the back. It's kind of hard to get off, but it's I think through time it will wear in. But it's good for field owners. They can load up the hopper and give it off to a rental user and give it a try. You can see the agitation there. But so for that aspect, it's be good. I'm sure there'll be some aftermarket lids coming out and stuff like that. But this does pretty good. It's actually I was quite impressed. It wasn't as fast as the Revy, but it was pretty much right there. It's about a second slower than the Revy, but still is a really nice thing. But that's it. Dogfire out, guys. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and go check out my paintball store, Dogfire Paintball. You guys have a good one.